5-pack of scrubs right there. And add Mac Jones, the dirtiest player in the league. Oh, check his pants. He's got a ninja star in there and foreign objects. Don't worry. He might blow the blinding dust on you. The guy should be in wrestling, let alone football, dirty prick.
Well, I will say, if we rewind the tape to 10 minutes ago, you talked about how you like Geno Smith because of, he like stirs it up. He's got a lot of energy. But Mac Jones,
no. That's very different. Geno would be the type of guy to say, listen, I'll meet you at the Black Path and we're going to have a fist fight, where Mac Jones would come up to you, bottle you in the back of the head, and then start hitting you.
Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Yar, mateys, and welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings Week 5. Best bets, the gold, the silver, the bronze, and our group teaser that we've introduced at the end. You can always find all of the cheat sheets to this show and our picks in the Mayo Media newsletter, completely free to join. That's down in the description, or if you're watching on the TVs and you don't have a description to go off of, go to substack.com, type in Mayo Media, boom, you can sub for free, get it emailed directly to you. One comes out on Wednesday evening along with the updated NFL injury report, then another one on Saturday, then another one on Sunday night to get you caught up on what happened this week. Reminder to play in the DraftKings Listeners League as well. It's already over half full, so you best get a spot now before there's none left, all right? And use runthesims.com in order to make those lineups. Or if you want to get props, I cleaned up on props last week. The prop sniper at Run the Sims is really where it's at. That's like my new favorite tool that they're offering over there. So runthesims.com/Mayo. Get yourself the 10% off. Rob and Cam, we hit the teaser last week, so we're 1-1. We're up money for the year on teasers.
Hey,
Huge.
You look great, Pat, by the way. I've always, I'm going to tell you something. Like, every time I watch like a soap opera with a guy with an eye patch, he's my guy. Like, I got to tell you something. Like, most people are fearful of the eye patch. I love it. Like, I absolutely, like, honest to God, I love eye patches. It's just one of those things. I don't know what it is, Pizzola with Pirates or all the other stuff, but I'm down with the program, Pat. Like, honestly, like, if I ever had to think, like, I'd like to wear it out because it makes you kind of a man of mystery. Like, people are like, whoa, what's the deal with this guy? Like, did he get hurt in war, or like, what's happening with him? Like, people, I think, assume the worst, even though you just have like a minimal eye injury, right, Rob? Don't you think it's like, ooh, it could have happened in a fight? Maybe a guy like gave me a blow dart in the eye. I don't know what's happening, but I'm just going to tell you, I've always loved eye patches.
It's the inner detective in you that makes you love the eye patch, because you're trying to figure out what could have possibly happened to this guy where he's actually wearing a patch. So that's like the forensic files and all the stuff that you watch that's led to this as being kind of like a peak highlight of your week.
I've noticed in some shows they take sympathy for the guy with the eye patch, and it gives him ulterior motives to get more evil and come up with a plan. Like, it's weird. Like, it could go both ways. You think, oh, this guy's got issues, but I've seen it also. They downplay it because it's like, oh, he's got a problem or whatever like that, and then next thing you know, you got a sword in your stomach. But anyway, I love it, Pat. Great look. I hope you get better.
If you're up to no good, you either wear an eye patch or a walking boot. Those are like the ways for people to sympathize with you right away.
Walking boot's not really good though, Rob, as Ted Bundy uses a complete tool for killing. So I try to stay away. The patch is just more of a friendlier, a grifter move, in my opinion.
Well, I was not advocating for mass murder or a serial murder. I was just saying, if you wanted to, people to sympathize with you, walking boot, crutches, something like that, where people might sympathize. I saw Pat when I came on today. I was like, I feel bad for this guy. Like, I don't want to have problems with one eye. I don't know the deal. I saw some stuff going on with Twitter and some sort of infection or something like that, but it really made me feel for Pat right away.
Yeah, I am a veteran of the streaming wars in terms of content, as I got makeup stuck in my eye and it got infected.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've had a lot of makeup done. Well, Rob will tell you too, like, my face used to change colors when they like gave me, because back in the day when we worked at the Score, they used to say the eyebrows are too light, so they'd color them in and weird things would happen. If it was like a company that had too much stuff in it, you'd like break out in like weird, like mold, like marks and stuff like that. But anyway, Pat, as long as you don't use your eye patch for evil, I'm a big fan.
I'll try not to use it for evil. We can recap what happened last week. Cam, you were the only gold pick that was successful. However, we did pretty well across the board. Other than that, 3-0 on the silver picks, 2-1 on the bronze picks, and we won the teaser. So a winning week for the group. The Saints really let you guys down.
Honestly, the Saints not just let me down, and I explained to Rob, I texted him. He was doing his show because I think he live bet the Colts, and we got them like plus $1 million too. Remember, they were down in that game, and it wasn't long. And then that was the thing. I told him, I go, listen, dude, if I would have known that Carr was starting instead of Winston, I would have never made that pick. I actually made the pick predicated on Winston starting, as you know, my love for backups, and I think David Carr is actually a guy that has some issues. That line sucks, but everything is a 2-yard dump off. It's just it's almost like very similar to Russell Wilson. He's lost a hitch in his giddy up. And I think Jameis Winston, at least as an active quarterback, could have moved the ball down the field. And things got really exciting in that Seattle game when Locke came in. This could have been real special for my thesis moving forward.
Could have been special for the rookie cards, Drew Lock rookie cards as well. That's all I was thinking about. But
me too.
Gino came back in. That was a dirty hit on Gino, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Like when Gino's a pretty chill guy. When he comes up to you and says, "Hey, man, like I'm gonna like meet you in the parking lot there at the end of the game," like it was a horse collar on the sideline that could have like. When you're hit like that, that's the one where your leg could buckle up, you could be done. Like it was, and people can't tell me. And I'm an advocate of very physical play in the National Football League. I think it's gone soft. Everyone's they flag out every play, but you can't do that to a guy from behind. It's a great way to like ruin his career.
I'm not sure about Gino being a pretty chill guy, though. I think a teammate once broke his jaw, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
He was punched in the face by a teammate and broke his jaw. If anything, I think he's the opposite of chill, personally.
I like Gino. I don't care what anybody says.
I like Gino, too, just because he's named Gino. He has, like, there's like a Italian roots
he's
in
Woodbridge.
some way.
Woodbridge Gino.
Exactly. Reminds me of my friends growing up.
He's fiery. Like, I want a fiery guy in my team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some of these other quarterbacks, like Gino at least defends himself. Anyway, I like the way the Seahawks played, and you guys have been down on Jones. It's not about Jones, too. Dable has to take a lot of blame for that. This guy threw his quarterback under the bus on national TV. They have the worst offensive line. It's funny how Seattle has second and third stringers on their offensive line, but they find ways to get it done. The Giants are poorly coached. Dable's overrated, and Jones, he made some big mistakes in that game. That team's season's done effectively. See you, Giants.
Mm-hmm. Rob and I were talking about that before the show of what the Giants do because they still owe Daniel Jones all this money based on this new contract extension that they just gave him. But they still have to draft the quarterback at 1 and just like eat the money, then try to cut Jones at the best possible time, if that's how it ends up working out for them.
I disagree, Pat. I think they need to go out and get basically just in their draft every offensive lineman that I ask you another thing. You draft Hyatt, the kid from Tennessee, who's basically, he could be on the U.S. Olympic team, unused. Yep. Waller, unused. Is that No, that's not Daniel Jones. That's Dable. He's the idiot running this team. He's the guy calling the plays, and he throws his quarterback under the bus. Am I going to say Daniel Jones is brilliant? No. He makes mistakes. But if he wasn't so elusive, Rob and Pat, he would have been dead in that game. He would have came back in a body bag because the Seahawks on every play, like Joe Montana couldn't have made plays with that offensive line. It sucks. That's my point.
CJ Stroud could have, and he's been making plays with that offensive line. Daniel Jones is like the definition of a middling quarterback. Like, you're never going to win with him. The conditions need to be perfect. Listen, the Giants have a lot of problems. Don't get me wrong. Yes. I don't want to place the whole. They don't have an offensive. Andrew Thomas is out, so they basically have no above average offensive linemen. All the receivers they brought in the offseason, like they didn't bring, everyone's like, oh, the Giants receiving core, this and that. They didn't bring in any game changers. No offense to Darren Waller. They can't put him on the field for every snap because the guy's got the hamstrings of like an 88-year-old, basically. He's one play away from being out for the year every single time he steps on the field. And then the defense sucks too. And they've missed with a lot of draft picks as well. Kayvon Thibodeau finally did something on Monday Night Football. He had a couple sacks in that game. But aside from that, they don't have anything right now. Like it's just a bad team.
Rob? I told people this guy might be the best player going. Like, not all people scoff, but I'm telling you, when that guy was in Illinois, take a look at their program now with him gone. That guy's a one-man wrecking crew. What kind of corner plays like a safety and like wants to put you in a pretzel every play? I got to tell you, Seattle and Pete Carroll, they've been great at drafting. Great draft pick.
we also owe you an apology, Cam, after week 1 when we thought Seattle was
done for. I thought what happened with their tackles, and the main reason that I bet against them was basically what we just saw with the Giants.
Apology.
Well, no, it's just
apology.
It was a bad take on my part. I thought that their offensive line would crumble with all these backups, and then, like you pointed out, it just hasn't happened.
No, the Seattle, we talk about this on our show, like next man up. And that's the mentality with Pete Carroll. And I'll tell you another thing about him. For him being a cheerleader, Pat, I think one thing that people forget is he's a great guy to have around when you have questions with yourself. If you're a backup, a guy trying to prove yourself, he's a motivator. Whereas Dable's just going to say, yeah, you suck. Yeah, that was a horrible play out there. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm a real smart guy. I know all the answers. That's one thing about Pete. I'm not going to say when it comes to brains, Rob, you would agree with me. Maybe not the smartest, but intelligent enough, great drafting, and a motivator of men. He believes in his players, and he will build you up to make you play the best you can. And I will give him credit for that. And the Seahawks were horrible week 1, but take a look. All those young players are starting to come around now. They're starting to buy into the system. They're still not like a great team. They're not as good as San Francisco or whatever, but I think, I got my wins over bet, and I think they can get there.
I have a question for you, Rob. And Cam, you chime in on this as well, because I was looking at this and someone had made the point. I was like, I want to go back and take a quick gander at what's going on here. Remember, I think it was like 3 years ago, the first year that San Francisco was really good under Kyle Shanahan. And in terms of the coach of the year race, he got basically no credit. It's like, wow, he's playing with the super team. So how could he actually be a good coach? Why would he deserve coach of the year when he has all these great players? Yet, if you say something like, Brandon Ayuk is really good, or Deebo Samuel is really good, or Kittle is really good, they'll be like, oh, or Brock Purdy is really good. It's like, oh, it's just Kyle Shanahan. He's the reason that they're all good. So which one is it? Is it Kyle Shanahan? Is it
Great question.
Is it the players are bad? He makes them good. Is it the players are good? I don't quite understand what the discourse is around him at this point.
I think it's a perfect recipe. Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think Kyle Shanahan's really good. And a lot of guys that come from the Shanahan coaching tree have proven to be really good in small samples so far. Obviously, you have McDaniel with the Dolphins. You look at what the Houston Texans have done so far with CJ Stroud this year as well. So I think a lot of guys that come under the from the Shanahan coaching tree have had success, and that props him up even more. I think if you took a league average coach or a below average coach and put them on the 49ers, they're probably a win worse over the course of the season. They still have the personnel ultimately, right? They have all the weapons in terms of offensive skill position players. Defense is solid. So I don't think they fall off a cliff without Shanahan, but there's 3 to 5 plays every game that the 49ers run where you're like, how is nobody within 15 yards of Brandon Ayuk?
Exactly.
Right? They're masters at scheming guys open. So I do think that he's an elite level coach. Sometimes he gets a little bit too conservative in game. Something with the 49ers this year is they play a lot of prevent defense.
Want to know why though, Rob? Because they're basically thinking, you have proven you can't beat us. So we're happy with our situation. You're right. It is conservative, but it's also these guys are doing jack against us. So why are we going to, you know what I mean? We're just going to keep on running McCaffrey and doing our little plays, and good luck. Try to stop it. That's kind of, if you can't beat him, he basically said, sure, I'll just keep on running the same stuff.
Let's get to the gold picks. I'll kick this off because I'm ready to lose some money this week, fellas.
I was hoping that you'd have a pick conducive to your eye patch and maybe the Raiders or something along those lines.
Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers are on
bye week.
They're on a bye. Yar.
I do like.
My father was a tree.
Yeah.
I do like taking the Bucks every single week, so maybe that's what I'm. It's early Halloween for me over here.
Is there a bird that Pirates like? Is
Ravens? Well, not.
I would say, is a falcon a friend of a pirate?
Well, the Falcons are involved with this bet, so we'll go with that. Because as you can see, there are no birds on my shoulder, so I will not be taking a bird in this game. I'm ready for CJ Stroud to completely let me down, but the Texans are better than the Falcons, who are not good whatsoever. Give me Houston +2 in Atlanta. Atlanta coming back from London. And Rob pointed it out that CJ Stroud is not having problems with this depleted offensive line, at least through 4 weeks. And now he gets the team that gets the third least amount of pressure in football coming at him. Will they be able to stop Bijan Robinson? This I do not know. But I do think they're going to score a ton of points indoors against the Falcons. And I just think that they're the better team. They don't have Desmond Ridder, so that's a big win for them. Texans +2.
I think people are going to be very, very split on this game this week.
I like it
because there's been a very large adjustment on this spread, right? I mean, if this game was played a week ago, Falcons are probably laying 3.5. Now it's changed quite a bit. I'm like pretty indifferent on this game, but I would rather bet Houston than Atlanta because Houston has like legitimate upside in every single game. Atlanta is just, they don't have a passing offense, right? Like if you stop the run, if you do what Jacksonville did last week and you sell out to stop the run, they just cannot beat you through the air. It's a real problem. Now, one of these games, someone's going to bet against Atlanta and Taylor Heineke's going to come in at halftime and you're going to have a heart attack because he's going to throw 4 touchdowns in the second half or something. But until that happens, I think the Falcons are a fade. And this Houston coaching staff, Bob Slowick, the offensive coordinator, it's the same thing with Stroud. They're scheming guys open. Nico Collins, Robert Woods, who people were saying was like completely washed. He gets the ball out of his hands quickly. He's designed like jet sweeps, screen passes, and whatever. It's a tough defense. It's a tough offense to game plan against right now. So it's been a big adjustment, but I'm like in slight agreement.
Hate to say it, you might see Heineke this week, Pat. That's why I think this game is like dangerous. Like these fans, because they know how good they have it with some of these other guys. Like literally, if Ritter stinks again and he doesn't like have any drives for anything, you'll see Heineke come out and then that's a big problem for Houston backers. I actually think it will happen this week. If he's gross, they're going to say enough is enough.
I mean, that seems
the question is
that's hold on. It does seem like sort of an odd reason to be like, oh, the starting quarterback for the team I'm betting against is going to be so bad that the backup ends up coming in.
No, you're right. No. I'm just, my point being is I would not be surprised if this scenario played itself out because Ritter is killing his team. That's the whole thing. He's not ready to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League.
It's also not factored into the line, right? This is priced as if Ritter's going to play a full game.
Correct.
There's lots of scenarios where the score is like 9-3 Texans, or it's like not a runaway, but the offense does nothing for Atlanta and they make a switch at quarterback. I just really like what Houston is doing. Honestly, I think they're a really well-coached team. I like D'Amico Ryans, what he's done there. And who knows, maybe Heineke comes in. Like Arthur Smith has been running the ball forever. Go back to the days in Tennessee. Now that was different. That was Derrick Henry, but they ran the ball like 60% of the time. He's always been a heavy like run coach. So maybe that doesn't change with Heineke either, but I don't like Atlanta right now. I just don't like backing teams, especially in like even though it's a small favorite role, when they can't move the ball through the air. Like Ritter sucks. He's horrible. He's dead. He is Zach Wilson level. Zach Wilson had a better game last week than Ritter could probably ever produce.
Zach Wilson's better than Ritter. And as I said before with my backup quarterback argument, he should be a backup quarterback because there's guys that are a hell of a lot. He's probably like, is he the worst starter in the league? I think up there.
Yeah.
That should be a new thing that we do. Maybe I'll incorporate that into one of my other shows. The top 3 worst current starting quarterback rankings. Zach Wilson, Ritter. Who would be next?
Well, it depends on if you counted like DTR for Cleveland last week as an example. Like, does he count because he started one game?
No, I don't think so.
That's not fair.
If Watson was out for 10 weeks, then yes, he would be in the mix. But Watson's expected to be back after the bye.
Right. So whoever's starting for the Steelers, whether that's Pickett or Trubisky, has been awful this year.
Bryce Young's been awful. I know he's a kid.
Bryce Young, Mac Jones has been terrible. Mac Jones has given up lots of touchdowns to the other team.
5-pack of scrubs right there. And add Mac Jones, the dirtiest player in the league. Oh, check his pants. He's got a ninja star in there and foreign objects. Don't worry. He might blow the blinding dust on you. The guy should be in wrestling, let alone football, dirty prick.
Well, I will say, if we rewind the tape to 10 minutes ago, you talked about how you like Geno Smith because of, he like stirs it up. He's got a lot of energy.
But Mac Jones, no. That's very different. Geno would be the type of guy to say, listen, I'll meet you at the Black Path and we're going to have a fist fight, where Mac Jones would come up to you, bottle you in the back of the head, and then start hitting you. Like Homer Simpson in the episode with his adopted kid Pepsi, where he meets the other dad at the aquarium there and he throws like the dirt and sand in his face to start the fight. That's a Mac Jones move.
Rob, do you have a gold pick?
I do. I don't love it, but I have a gold pick.
I don't love my picks every week, Rob. And sometimes, actually, you know what? I did love Tennessee last week, and a lot of people gave me slack, so I'm very proud of that pick.
I usually like my picks. I think this week I don't have as much volume as I typically do when we start the show, but I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings plus 4.5 at home to the Chiefs.
I don't know. We're not neighbors. We don't even like talking. I love this pick. It's like it's in my minerals, but you continue. Tell me about it because I'm gonna anyway. I have a speech about the Chiefs afterwards, Patrick. If you thought my Mac Jones take was a little bit rough, let's talk about a team that should be investigated and referees that should be investigated for teams like the Jets, who I took, who should have won outright. The Taylor Swift effect. Oh, Patrick Mahomes, give him honestly, that was one of the biggest screw jobs going. And I'm not talking about Bret Hart in wrestling here. Honest to God, if people can investigate the Chiefs, sorry, Rob, continue. I'm still angry about that game. It's BS. Fucking bullshit.
I don't know that I agree with you. It was a
Please
horribly
agree with me
officiated
because it's true. I tell the truth. I tell the truth.
Here's the thing. Here's where I go. I'll get to the reasoning for the pick in a second.
Okay.
But what really drives me crazy about this stuff is like, I don't think the refs are calling the game to screw the Jets. I just think the refs are shit. Like all around, they don't know
that's
what,
part of yes,
right? Like people are, I saw Morency tweeting like, "Oh, look at the referee, he doesn't throw this flag until after the interception happened." Well, he reached for the flag like 2 seconds before he actually threw it, and he couldn't get the flag out. So like, it's like there's not some big conspiracy. It's just that the refs are put in a position where they have to call things right away, and there is ref bias too. Like when the Kansas City Chiefs offense holds on every single
play. Yeah,
they're not going to get called on every single play because there's a ref bias in there. And they're like, God, are we going to call this again and again and again? Like, is this game going to go on? And sometimes they get away with it. But I don't like the whole conspiracy thing. I think that's all BS.
I don't want to make a conspiracy thing, Rob, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but that was a great point by you. It's kind of like the old Seahawks and the Niners do it now. Let's just tug and hold on every play, and you're not going to call every play. But the bottom line with the Kansas City Chiefs, I've watched every snap of every game by them this year. I taped their games because I want to know what's going on. And their right tackle is false starts every game. Every game. They move all the time, and they get the benefit of the call more than any team in the league. Is that not factual?
I would say that is I would say that is common amongst the best team in every sport. Once you start like the Warriors get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
with everything
it's more noticeable with the Chiefs though.
Because it's more noticeable in football than any other sport.
Fair enough.
How many times did Aaron Rodgers underthrow a ball intentionally down the field so he could get a PI call? Like these players know what they're doing. They're smart generally. Now, in the case of the Chiefs, I agree with you. You watch that game. The Jets got fleeced on a bunch of calls. There's no doubt about it, but I just shot it up. Like I chalk it up to shoddy officiating. It's not like, oh, Taylor Swift is in attendance. We need to make the Chiefs win this game. I'm not saying it's that. I say it was part of my overall argument. And I think Patrick Mahomes has relationships with people, and I maybe they like him more. You know what I mean? Like, how's your family? Remember, like, there's certain players. How's your family doing, Tom? Oh, yeah, whatever. Like, they'll play the fake game. Like, Rodgers, the same thing. Some of these guys are masters at it. They don't care about the guy's family. It's like, oh, no, he seems like a really good guy. I'm going to give him the benefit of that, where some guy's just chucking the ball back him. It's like, screw you, ref. Just make a play. It's possible.
Can I throw you at a more plausible conspiracy theory that's going on with Taylor Swift?
You're saying mine Pirate Pat, is mine not plausible? Or
no.
I'm not saying what I'm saying is perfect, but I think we kind of are in agreement that we're coming about it in different ways.
I think what I'm more on Rob's side of, I think it's just sheer incompetence. Most of the time, rather than some sort of like grand conspiracy to make this happen. However, this circulating story about Taylor Swift starting to date Travis Kelce the week before the Jets so she could be at the Jets game, and then all the SEO on Google says Taylor Swift Jets, and that goes all the way to the top to bury the story about her jet putting out too many carbon emissions is genius.
Well, that's a deep conspiracy theory.
He's
for
right,
sure.
though. I actually agree with that. I don't care if you guys shit on my conspiracies. There's a lot of things going on, but you're right. Sheer incompetence is at the top of the list.
We're not talking about mine.
I know your game, Pat, and I appreciate. But anyway, that was really well said, and I got a good joke. And I'm going to tell you something though. It's sheer incompetence, but there's something going on with. Anyway, I just like when I have Chief fan telling me we're moving on every play and it's never being called. It's like, what the hell are we doing here? They called about 35 flags on the Giants and Seahawks and ruined a Monday Night Football game.
They did make an example of the right tackle of Jawan Taylor in the game 2 of the year against the Jags. He got called for like 4 or 5 false start penalties in that game. But I get it. Like week 1, it was very noticeable. Nothing was happening. They never called it against the Lions. Then they made an example of him in week 2. All it comes down to is that we're sitting at home. We watch on the couch. It's not an excuse. These referees get paid. They get paid. They're doing a job. It's a high pressure job. You have to make the right calls, but they are making it in real time without the benefit of replay and stuff like that. And there's going to be stuff that's missed. And sometimes
Rob, let me tell, and so I'm sorry, but I need to finish this argument too. I watch as much college football because I'm on the air every Saturday, and there's some really good young referees that and the announcers are like, this guy has called a crisp game. Yep. And multiple times, I have never, barely, the percentages of watching an NFL crew say they have done a great job tonight. I'm just telling you, these guys are too old. They work at Walmart unless you make them full-time employees and 30 years younger, it's not going to get better. So I actually agree with your argument. Incompetence and age. They can't keep up with these athletes today. These guys are friggin' gazelles. They're gazelles.
Stuff.
Here's my worry, Rob, for you.
I'll stop talking. I'm getting my blood pressure's rising. Sorry, Patrick.
And Minnesota plus 4.5. Every single person I've talked to this week is on Minnesota. Everyone, myself included.
It honestly doesn't bother me. It never does. It never will. I don't really.
Everyone's down on the Chiefs.
Well, that's part of it. Like, first of all, it's so I could talk about the Chiefs offense struggling, right? We all have seen it. It was Detroit, Jacksonville, the Jets. Those are good defenses. Minnesota's defense is not good. So there's very clearly an opportunity for Kansas City to look like they did against Chicago, against Minnesota. But for me, this is about the Vikings, how we've completely flipped on the Vikings. Like last year, they were like the luckiest team around. They're winning every single close game. All these fourth quarter come from behind victories. Now this year, they're actually playing good, and they have like the flukiest things happen to them every single week. They're 7th in success rate on offense, adjusted success rate. That accounts for the opponent's, the quality of competition. They're 20th in EPA per play. The reason they're that low is because of all these turnovers. Kirk Cousins dropping snaps from his center, like 2 in 1 game earlier in the year. All the red zone turnovers that are happening. This just cannot go on forever. So I think that Minnesota's due for some positive regression. The Chiefs defense, we were ready to crown them as this amazing deep.
Isn't regression the opposite of positive? Don't you mean positive? Regression.
No, regression works both ways.
Regression can be
just
positive
moves back
or negative.
to the middle.
Exactly.
Okay.
It moves back towards the middle. But also, I'm just very inclined to like a team getting 4.5 points that always plays close games too. Their games always come down to the wire. This is the spot I want to back Minnesota. I know they covered last week as favorites, but typically, I don't want to be betting them to win by margin. I want to bet them to play in a close game, which they do very regularly. So I like this opportunity for them here. I think it's a little bit too high in terms of a number. And yes, you're betting against the Chiefs. Obviously, things can go bad, but I think Minnesota's due for some positive regression here.
Cam, your gold pick.
I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars plus 5.5 against Buffalo. Buffalo was my biggest play last week next to the Tennessee Titans. They've been in London. I think they're figuring it out. They play the Bills pretty tough. I think Buffalo's going to be good in this game, but I just don't think they're going to do enough. I think they're going to win on a last second play and not cover 5.5. This might not be a popular pick. I do also agree with Rob on Minnesota. There's a couple other games that I like, but you know what? I just want us to have different gold picks. And sorry, Rob, about the positive regression. I was just trying to make a joke and it sucked, and bad on me. Jags plus 5, please. Give me one cat in this. I gotta have animals in my picks.
It's tough to back the Bengals nowadays. So if you're going to go with the cat,
buddy, I've been fading the Bengals all year, and it's been working like a charm because Joe Burrow's hurting their offensive line reeks. It's a pretty simple concept.
Jaguars, a one-read quarterback now. Yeah, it's got no mobility.
Yep, you called it, Pizzola. I know the Bills could blow these guys out of the water. I think it's a good spot for the Jags.
I agree. I like the Jags plus 5.5 as well. It's a home game for them, which is nice. I mean, it's not really, but the Bills are getting weird neutral site credit, and they're playing at the Jags European home stadium, but the Bills are the home team. What a fleece job by the Jags.
That's another thing. That's Pat, to my earlier point about the Chiefs. do the Chiefs ever play these games where they lose a home game? Let's just send Buffalo, actually a team that needs help, loses in Super Bowls, and they have to go face a team that's been in London for 2 weeks. Good job, NFL. Like, Bills fans got enough problems. Cut them some slack. That's part of my whole Kansas City thing.
Doesn't Kansas City lose a home game in Frankfurt later on?
They better lose a million
things. They're playing in Germany,
Good. Lose a home game.
Yeah, it is an accredited home game against the Dolphins as well, so they do lose a home game.
Good.
One thing about this one in particular, though, I have a good friend that lives in London, and I talked to him this week, and he did. I agree with you guys. Like, it's obviously a big advantage for the Jacksonville Jaguars to stay there, and like they're acclimated with the time and not have to play there. But he did say to me, it's very, very likely that this is going to be like 80% Bills fans at this game, because all the Londoners are big time bandwagon jumpers, and they basically just cheer for whoever is doing well in the NFL. So a lot of people in the last couple of years have turned themselves on to the Bills and the Chiefs in London. So just wanted to point that out. I don't know if that matters at all. I could not bet Buffalo in this game personally, but Jacksonville to me seems very broken as well. Like, I bet the Jags against Atlanta last week. They win, they cover. There was a part in the second half, I'm like, how are they going to possibly blow this game? They just dominated the entire first half. There's still something to me that's broken about Jacksonville, but maybe this is the game where they figure it out.
I don't know if it's going to...
Now I feel bad about my picks. Like,
don't feel bad.
No, I
think we all agreed.
Tennessee last week. I don't feel like... I'm looking at my picks. Like, I like 5 games, and I like them all kind of the same, Rob. Like, the same as you. Like, I like the Vikings too. Pat likes the Vikings. Like, I find this week to be very... And is any of us going to take the Dolphins just to like beat the Giants by 42, or is that too easy?
I took the Giants on the spread pick show. I'm not touching that game with a 10-foot pole, but 11 seems like a lot of points.
I don't like laying a lot of points with teams that have bad defenses.
Yeah, I would rather lay the 9.5 with Detroit than the 11 with Miami.
So would I.
I agree with you.
I think Detroit kills Carolina. I agree.
I think there's a very good chance they blow them out of the water.
Good call.
My silver pick is going to be the Arizona Cardinals +3 at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. If you look at adjusted EPA, if you look at DVOA, whatever it is, the Cardinals are actually good. They can move the ball. Their defense isn't bad. Their offense is like top 10 right now. And the Bengals suck. And maybe the Bengals will do what they did to the Rams in that Monday night game and just kind of dink and dunk them to death and hold on for dear life and get pressure. But they were able to get pressure on Stafford after the O-line went down, but Stafford can't move. Dobbs can at least move away from these guys and extend the drive. When Cust and I talked about it on the show, we were talking about it while we were watching the games, and we were kind of going through before we did the Sunday Night Live show. People should watch the Sunday Night Live show, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, every Sunday night on Mayo Media Network. We're going to try to cook Cust something healthy this week, maybe Brussels sprouts or asparagus or kale chips.
I watched your video, Pat, and the fact that Cust eats a corn dog like corn.
Oh my God, I wanted to throw up.
I just have to ask you, and I loved him. Like, I want to hang out with the guy. Like, is this real? Like, does he really eat food like that, or is it just a gimmick? Is it a shtick? Like, what's the deal? No, like I would grab that corn dog, I'd take it off like I eat a chicken wing, like just to take it right off the stick, right?
Do you think Do you think that he has the wherewithal to plan out how weird he's going to eat something in real time on a live show? He does not. No, he does not.
He's fleecing everybody.
This is disturbing. Trick. This image is disturbing.
Like, come on. No, come on, Rob. You're anyway.
It's absurd. It's honestly,
it's absurd. Like, I say a lot of stupid things on these Showtime. Like, I think sometimes we agree, and I go a little bit too far with my, but like, honestly, to eat a corn dog like that, my mind has been blown. It can't be real. Like, there's nobody who does.
To Cam's point here, right? Sometimes people will do like one weird thing. You know, they'll put mayo in the coffee. They'll put hot sauce in their Pepsi or whatever. And you'll be like, you know what? That's really weird. Why would you do that? But like, you give them a free pass because they do other normal things. Cust does every weird thing. Like, it's unimaginable that somebody can do so many things that are that peculiar. When he ate that corn dog like that, I laughed very loud because I could not even believe it was real. I could not believe what I was literally witnessing. There's no one else that does that.
Does he eat chocolate with utensils, Pat, like on Seinfeld?
No.
Like, does he make sure the bar is like soft enough to cut into it? Like, I like to keep my chocolates in the freezer or fridge. I always prefer cold chocolate because it's got more of a bang. But like, so he eats chocolate with his hands, but he eats a corn dog like corn?
I don't think I've ever seen him eat. The only thing I've ever seen him eat is a Kit Kat bar, and he doesn't break off the piece of the Kit Kat bar. He just takes this big bite out of it.
He eats it as like waffle chips.
Yes.
Like in one big thing.
Correct.
You know what? That's insane as well. Everybody, like, you got to break off the fingers of a Kit Kat. I've had enough. Like, what mineral are we?
We're on silver. I took Arizona. Listen,
I love it.
I'm playing a lot of recency bias, but I'm going to go with my gut this week that Houston and Arizona are still better than the books are giving them credit for, and the Bengals and Falcons are still worse than the books are giving them credit for. Because honest to God, after watching these teams through 4 weeks, if you just took all of the players' names off the jersey and just said, hey, I don't know who any of these guys are, but I just watched these 4 games, the Cardinals should be favored by 3 in this game, not dogs by 3.
Yeah, this is the argument that this argument happens every year right around like week 5 and 6, because I'm with you, Pat. I'm in like the guys who model NFL and like mathematically make numbers on games. There's something called priors, right? What was the expectation of the team going into the season? And then you slowly start to wean off of those priors as the year goes on. So if you were to do that, like for Atlanta, Houston as example, and you're using priors of what these teams were going into the year, Atlanta 8.5 win total team, Houston one of the lowest, you're never going to get to this number. You're always going to get to Atlanta -3 or something like that. It's the same with Arizona, Cincy. But at what point you just stop and say to yourself, this is not the team that we thought they were going to be going into the year, and it is not going to change anytime soon. And that's how I personally feel about the Bengals. Like, you have to show me, Cincinnati, that you can actually move the ball at some point, and Joe Burrow can actually make a second read. There's a lot of video out there from last week's game. He is literally looking at his first target and throwing the ball there every time because he has no elusiveness. He cannot move. He cannot scramble around, do things that typically he would do. So how do you value Cincinnati like anything they were early on in the year? And same with Arizona. They're better than we give them credit for. The coaching staff's done a good job. Jonathan Gannon over there has done a great job. Offensively, Drew Petzing. We talk about teams that are scheming guys open. Look at Arizona when they played Dallas and San Fran, two very good defenses, and they got guys running wide open all over the field. Like, it's a different team. So
what do we have in common, Rob? They're both from the Philadelphia. Steichen is doing a great job with Indianapolis and now Arizona. So let's call it out for what it is. We can make that correlation.
And
that's true.
And look at Philadelphia. They're worse offensively and worse defensively now.
Bingo.
Yes.
So these guys do make a difference. You know what, Pat? I love the pick. I don't care if everyone's like, oh, the number 5, it opened at 5, whatever. You know what? I've been fading Cincinnati all year. I hope Arizona wins outright for you. My biggest bet of the year is Cincinnati under 11.5 wins. I would love the Cardinals to win this game.
Yeah, looking good right now on that under 11.5.
I just had a feeling at the start of the year that Burrow was hurt, and I knew their line was a little bit leaky. I didn't know it was this bad, actually. I just thought their division was better, but it's been even better than I thought. Like, they're a totally overrated football team right now.
It's funny.
Do you remember when we...
It's funny because if he had just sat out week 1, that it would have put him on the back end of the timetable of full recovery for the calf. Instead, he comes back a week early and then re-aggravates it.
Great point.
Like, what are we
doing?
And
that was rumored to be his decision as well, where he basically told the team, I'm not going on IR. So now you got Jamar Chase saying he's wide open on every play. Like, it's a disaster right now. It's like a very cancerous team, in my opinion. I wouldn't touch Cincinnati at all. And funny enough, if you remember back that night when we did the NFL win totals draft with us 3, Jeff and Cust, Jeff just forgot that the Bengals existed.
And I got
the Ravens instead of, and you got them, Pat. Yeah. And we asked Jeff why that happened. He's like, to be honest with you, I just forgot that Cincinnati was in the league. Exactly. And you got stuck with them, Pat, which is hilarious.
It's okay. Would you like an update on how that is going?
No, you guys are doing good. I'm at the bottom with Cust, eating Kit Kats without breaking the fingers off.
Well, three of us are tied for first at 13 and 11. Myself, Rob, and Jeff, and Tim and Cam are 11 and 13. So that's how it's going right now. Because the Rams and Bucks are good for me. My late round picks are coming through.
I can't believe I added the Bears. Like that's why I'm going to finish last in that thing. Everything else I can kind of deal with. Whatever. They suck.
All right. So Cam, who's your silver pick?
There's a couple that I like. Can I ask you opinions? I know we don't like to do this, but okay. What am I going to do?
Rob, do you have a silver pick?
Yeah,
I
Rob,
do.
you have a silver pick.
I do. So it's gonna come across like a homer pick, but you're getting the hook at DraftKings. You get Dallas 3.5.
I love Dallas 3.5.
I like Dallas.
I don't.
I listen.
do.
I think the hook is so crucial in this matchup. I really do. Like the likelihood that San Fran wins by exactly 3 is like by far the most likely outcome in this game. But one thing about Dallas is they've only scored a touchdown on 37% of their red zone trips this year. 37%. That is third worst in the entire league. They've won a game by 40, by 35, and by 20, and they've scored on 37% of their red zone trips. Last year, Dallas was number 1 in the league in the red zone. They scored touchdowns 71.4% of the time.
Give it to
Zeke.
Zeke.
It is not Zeke.
Give it to Zeke.
It is not. This will correct itself eventually. And on top of this, I do actually like the matchup. What's kind of going unnoticed this year, I know Dallas has struggled against San Francisco in the past, and I'm fully aware of this, and this defense has caused them problems. But in the past, San Fran had a much better run defense than they do so far this season. San Fran's rush defense is giving up a successful run 47% of the time. That's 4th worst in the entire league. When Dallas can run the ball successfully, their offense is so much better overall. I make this game a flat 3. I think 3.5 is a super valuable number. It's available on DraftKings, so I'm taking the Cowboys.
I guess my pushback would be that it's not that I'm necessarily against this pick. I don't see myself just lining up to bet the Niners. I think the Niners are significantly better than all of the other NFC teams, that if you made this line like 6, they could still, like, I would think about it and be like, they could probably cover that number because they might beat their brains in, because that's what San Francisco was doing to everyone. When you're talking about, listen, their run defense hasn't been very good. However, are teams able to run on them, or are they just down by so much? It's like, yeah, go ahead and run. Go nuts.
That's a good question. So, like, even if I'm doing this right as we speak right now, in terms of trying to get rid of the what I call like garbage time stats.
Yeah, can you have it within 7 points? Like, can you adjust it to within 7? Like any game that's within 7 points plus or minus rushing? Then can you do that?
I can do it based off of probability of the game. So, for example, if anywhere where the Niners have maybe like more than an 85% chance of winning the game, I can filter out all of that, which I'm going to do really quickly just to see where we're at, because I think that's actually a valid point.
Yeah, I would just be curious. Like, I obviously I don't know what the answer is to that, but I would like to know. I guess what I'm thinking is, and Cam, maybe we can reminisce about last year a little bit. Parsons is going to play, but I don't think he's going to be fully healthy. And remember what happened to Dallas's defense when he wasn't fully healthy last year?
Yeah, it's just one of these things. Sometimes styles make fights, and I'm with Rob because I think San Francisco's been living high on the hog, and they've been the best team in the league. If you're going to probably put a Super Bowl together, it'd be, probably Bills and Niners by both teams from each conference that look the best right now. It's a couple teams are debatable we could throw in there, but definitely the Niners in the NFC. I believe in Rob's Dallas Cowboys. Remember, they played these guys tough before. They really screwed up in those games. Like Dallas still, even with the players that they have, I don't think it's going to be easy for Brock Purdy to do the things that he did against these other teams. Pat, I actually think this game is coming down to the wire. I would not be shocked if it, like Rob said, overtime, 3-point game, last second play. Like, if I can do a winning margin betting on both sides to plus money, I don't think any team wins by more than 6 in this game. The 1-6 bet, I actually think Dallas can win the game. So I would make, I can tell you, I'm betting Dallas plus 3.5 with the hook. It's probably not going to be a popular play. I'm with Rob. It's nothing about the Cowboys, 49ers. 49ers have been brilliant this year, but let's call it out for what it is too. Arizona moved the ball on these guys a little bit too. They're not.
So did the Rams.
And the Rams. They're not a perfect team. And one thing I know about Dallas is they do have weapons. So I expect, Pat, this game to be probably one of the best games of the week. And when I get that hook, I take it. I think I'll take Dallas 3.5, please.
If I strip out the garbage times, Pat, sorry to cut you off. They go from 4th worst in the league to 6th worst. Okay, so like a very difference. Small improvement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is Dallas your silver pick, or Cam?
No, I'm not going to do the same picks, but everyone knows that it's hard for me to narrow down 3. People know what I like. I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints plus 1 as my silver pick.
I like this.
This is a reason I'm not getting off this. I don't care what anybody says. This team actually killed me last week. I could have taken my girlfriend on a vacation. We're still talking about it, and she has a right to be mad. I had no idea. I had no ability to hedge out because I had them in parlays, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were up so much. I looked at the cash out and went, "Ow, I hate this team even more." But the difference between me like a scorned lover, I come back. We work out problems. Hey, we had an argument. Don't worry, baby. Let's go have a couple drinks and we're going to figure it out. That's me and the Saints this week. We're getting our relationship back together.
The Saints and the Saints and the Patriots are exactly the same team, except the Saints didn't just lose.
Got injuries.
Yeah, except the Saints didn't just lose their 2 best defenders.
That's my point. And I actually think now, like, Dennis Allen's an idiot. And Rob, I'll give you credit for pointing that out. I always thought he was bad. I didn't know he was this dumb. He's one of the worst coaches in the league. Like, he is really dumb. I wouldn't trust him to coach if I had a kid, his Pee-wee team. Like, I go get a father what dad's had 9 beers. Get him out there. Allen, you're out. Like, this guy is awful. The Saints play calling has been awful, but Pat, to your point, New England is missing very, very valuable weapons. One thing I know about the Saints is Mac Jones might be coming back in a body bag, and they'll find a way to win this game between 4 points. They're getting 1. I wish it was 1.5 before, whatever. I don't think that's going to matter. Give me the New Orleans Saints as my silver pick. Outright win in Foxborough.
Just to add on to the Dallas thing, Rob, just for 1 second, because you mentioned that the Rams moved the ball on San Francisco and Arizona moved the ball on San Francisco. Both offenses currently better than Dallas's.
Debatable.
I mean, I think a lot of these red zone problems are Kellen Moore's not calling plays. Mike McCarthy is. That's a real problem.
Well, they've also been without their left tackle, their center, and their right guard.
I didn't realize they led the league in excuses, Rob.
Well, but this is in all likelihood going to be a healthy offensive line this week. Like, you're missing
played, Patch.
2 Hall of Famers. Your left tackle is going to the Hall of Fame. Your right guard's going to the Hall of Fame. They missed a bunch of games. That's going to affect your ability to score points generally.
I love you guys. That was awesome. Good stuff, Patch. Hey, you're like Family Guy. You're an equal opportunity guy. You come at me, you come at Rob, hey, it's cool if you come at everybody, right? And I'm down with that program. So well played, Patrick.
Someone had pointed out why no one is coming after me for my eye, because 1, medical maladies are usually off the table in terms of ribbing, and 2, you never come at the guy who edits the show. That's a terrible idea.
Good call. Hey, Pat, I had a Titleist and a Clementine living in my gut. We all got issues, buddy. Yours is going to get better soon. Don't worry about it.
Oh, it is almost better. I just thought the eye patch. I've been looking for an eye patch all week to wear, and then I finally got one.
I think it's fantastic. You already got a Halloween costume. You just go up and dress as Baker Mayfield now with a patch.
Well, that's actually something I did want to talk about. You guys gave me heat last week. When I was just like, yeah, I don't think they're going to sack Baker a ton. Maybe the Saints team isn't all that good. Turns out they couldn't sack Baker.
Hey, don't come at me and Rob. We had some solid picks last week, and we made a mistake because we thought Winston was playing. Like, slow down.
Derek Carr last week had
Carr sucked.
He went 23 of 37 last week.
Stinks.
Do you know what his average depth of completion was?
It was to Kamara. Was it like 2 yards?
It was 0.3 yards. His average depth of completion was barely past the line of scrimmage. Alvin Kamara caught 13 passes for 33 yards. Like, Derek Carr, maybe when you're losing by a touchdown, throw the ball downfield.
Hey, he tried that. And listen, he put it in the bread basket of Chris Olave, and it just bounced off his hands.
Know what's going to happen, too, this week? If this guy comes out junk again, Taysom Hill had 1 completion, I think, for 12 yards or whatever. You know what, Rob? If any coach had a brain, they'd mix it up. More Taysom Hill. I'd throw Jameis Winston in place. It doesn't matter. Carr's not you know what I mean? Make it like a system where, like, the Patriots are going, what the hell's going on here? Because the more numbnuts Allen keeps it simple, the easier it's going to be. If they actually mix it up and without the defensive stars that New England has, I think the Saints can actually take these guys out to the woodshed. They're so poorly coached. Like, do something different, man. Get a brain.
Back in the day when the Patriots played the Raiders, the Patriots are very much known for, Bill Belichick is known for, like, taking away the best weapon of the opposing team, opposing offense, and making them beat you in some other way. Whenever they played the Raiders, do you know what Bill Belichick did? He took away Derek Carr's check down option. They double teamed the check down. That's how much they respect Derek Carr's ability to pass deep. I'm not saying I disagree with your play. I don't have an opinion on the game. But I don't like Carr. I don't like Carr. I don't like Carr at all. I cannot handle the guy. I do not want. This guy was put on the earth to make me miserable. I've never been on the right side of Derek Carr games, and I'm not going to try to start doing it right now.
So
I am.
So for you, Cam, in this one. Maybe home field does mean enough, but you're still getting a point in this situation with New Orleans. And like we said, the defense for the Patriots should be lacking a little bit. But when you take a look at their overall numbers for the year, their offenses are about the same, 19th and 22nd. Their defenses about the same, 8th and 9th. The biggest difference, the Saints are a top 10 special teams so far this season. Patriots are dead last.
That helps. No, I agree with a lot of Rob's picks. I just trying to mix it up, and I like the Saints.
Cam, it's not a personal attack, man. It's all right.
Yeah. It's okay.
Oh, good. It's just
if I say I'm indifferent, like neutral on a game, I'm not saying you're gonna.
I don't take it. That
I just
way
don't have an opinion.
I'm just saying I love your picks this week because I'm having the same ones. I don't want us to have duplicate minerals at the store. That's all I'm saying. Like I'm going to be betting your games, but I'm also going to take the Saints in this spot. Like there's
doing it for the viewers. You're doing it for the viewers. You want the diversity, people to be able to bet different things. I get it, man. You're just a man of the people.
Well, Cam,
not all the time, but yeah, I like your picks. I don't want to double up, but I will be betting your plays, Rob.
Do you have a bronze pick ready to go, Cam? Did we whittle it down for you? Let's hear it.
I do have a bronze pick. Or can I throw two things out? Okay, I like. Oh God, why do I always do this? I like the Pittsburgh Steelers +4 against the Ravens.
I like that too. It's a 3-point game.
Crickets?
Yeah,
Crickets?
It's a
no? Okay.
Every one of these games is a 3-point game. It doesn't matter who's playing for these teams.
That's not true. That's a little bit overrated. The last 3 games that the Ravens played against the Steelers was not Lamar Jackson. 2 of the previous 3, Baltimore won by 18 and 15. I will hear this out because the Steelers always cover these games somehow, but like this seems like the biggest mismatch this week for me. Go ahead, Cam.
Cuss Superlock is the Ravens.
Wow. Good. Then I'll accept this as bronze. I wanted Minnesota +4.5. Rob's got it. That's my bronze junior. I'll take Pittsburgh. I don't think there's much of a downgrade from Pickett to Trubisky. It's a simple concept with the Steelers, defense at home. Concepts to stop Lamar Jackson. And Rob, I got to be honest with you. Sure, Baltimore pulled away. They dealt with a backup quarterback. Like, have they been great this year? Like, everyone's like, Baltimore. Like, really? When you look at their body of work, how great have they been? Look at the matchups that they have had. They barely pull away from teams. Like, I'm not sold on this Ravens thing. I can tell you one thing about the Steelers. After getting their asses handed to them, Mike Tomlin's going to have them ready to play. And that's a personal thing. It's not about numbers or graphs, computers, or whatever. All I know is this guy coming off of a beatdown like that to Houston, these guys are going to be fucking ready to rock. And Lamar Jackson, I'm going to tell you, they're going to have schemes for him. I think if Baltimore wins, they win by 3 points. I will take the 4. It was 4.5. It's down to 4. Concerning. Rob, I like your other picks. I'm taking Pittsburgh Steelers. I got to stick with it. It's a vibe play. Give me the silver and black. I hate this team too. Rob, the way you talk about Derek Carr and the Saints, this team screws me all the time, but I'm going to take them this week. Steelers. To your point, this is one of like the best situational trends that exists in football, right? Mike Tomlin as a home dog. They just do this all the time. You look back to the week they play, week 2, Cleveland, whatever that game was, Monday Night Football, where like they generated negative yards in the fourth quarter and they won the game somehow. They scored like they had the pick defense.
6 or whatever. Yes, to your credit, to your point as well, Cam. Baltimore, they got C.J. Stroud first career start. They got Joe Burrow injured. They had Gardner Minshew. They had DTR. They've had a lot of things work in their favor for their schedule.
Damn right.
But Pittsburgh, to me, like the ceiling on what they can score is so low because I don't even care about like Trubisky, Pickett. It's a wash, probably, in my opinion. Like I'm not downgrading them a lot, but without Deontay Johnson, they have no receivers. Like they have Allen Robinson as their number 2. It's terrible. Freiermuth got a concussion.
Rob, Trubisky's a little bit faster than Pickett. Like the one thing about Trubisky is once he's in the open field, he's no Josh Allen or Daniel Jones, but the guy can move. Like he actually is a competent player. Oh yeah, Pat, by the way, I have to keep the pick. He's a backup quarterback. I rest my case.
So you could do something fun with this game too, Cam, because I know you like to do fun things, that you could take Pittsburgh +4 and parlay it with the under, because, you know, the team getting the points, that's usually good in an under situation. Under tickets have cash at a 73% clip since the beginning of 2021 when the Ravens are favored, and unders are 12-7 in Pittsburgh home games over that same time. So there you go.
I'm happy with the pick. Fun stuff. I thought you were going to say like shotgun beers or do a couple other things on the show. I'll just stick to the pick. Thanks. I don't need to do both. Winning margin, though. I'll do winning margin on probably both. As I said, this game I think is a 3-point game. Thank you.
Rob, bronze pick.
This is a little bit risky to lock this one in early.
Here we go. I'm going to like your pick. You know I am. So just tell me.
Maybe. I mean, no one's really talking about this game. It's the Monday nighter. I'm going to take the Packers -1.
That was mine.
Against the Raiders.
That was my bronze.
The Raiders just don't do anything well.
Suck.
Like
they
their
suck.
bottom, they suck. Their bottom 5 defense, they don't generate any pressure. Like you go back to Thursday when Jordan Love looked terrible. Detroit had a ton of pressure in that game. Detroit had the 7th best pressure rate in the league going into last week's game. The Raiders are 3rd worst. The only teams behind them are the Broncos and the Bears. They've only forced 8 quarterback hurries all year. They just do not do anything well. You have the possibility for positive injury news with the Packers, whether that's their left guard, Elton Jenkins, Devondre Campbell, Jair Alexander practiced yesterday, which is huge for this matchup because guess what? They can put him on Devontae Adams.
Also, Rob, think about cheese and traveling. There's going to be so many drunk Wisconsin guys at the blackjack table for the game. 9-4. Hey, what do I got? Take a card. I can't count. I'm going to tell you, they are going to take over that stadium like it's like going to be a cheese factory there. Like the Raiders don't even have fans. And imagine Green Bay fan, like Buffalo fan, like these guys, like Steeler fan, cheeseheads, these guys travel. A lot of them don't work. Their job is to drink professionally and to go to every NFL stadium and watch their team play, or they're on a retirement package from work, or I don't know how they get their money, but whatever. Anyway, maybe a claim from a car accident. Like William Mattar.
Celino and Barnes.
Yeah, Celino and Barnes hurting a car. Call William Mattar. Anyway, there's a lot of Wisconsins that got smoked by cars. I'm going to tell you this, like that stadium, what do you think, Rob? 85-90% Packer fan? Bad news for the Raiders. Even worse.
Not that high, but we saw
it's going to be close.
We saw the Monday nighter 2 weeks ago where the Steelers went to Las Vegas and it was all Steelers fans.
That's it.
The Raiders had to use silent counts on their offensive snaps. I'm with you. I just don't like the Raiders. I like to bet against the Raiders when all I need to do is the other team to win. And I think Green Bay is that much better. So
I wanted Pat to have the rate. Actually, Pat, see, you are, but you're doing the opposite power of the patch. You're betting against the yar. You're taking cheese instead of Pirates.
So this reminds me of I was trying to come up with the right analogy for this matchup and how I feel about the Packers and how I feel about the Raiders. And I think it works like if, let's say, mid-90s WWF, that you would have guys in the middle of the card. Let's say someone like Jeff Jarrett, for example, when he was, early on WWF, he was like in the Intercontinental Championship mix. Yeah, he was Intercontinental Champion for a while. If he went up against like Big Daddy Cool Diesel, he was going to lose every single time. However, if he got to face the Brooklyn Brawler on Superstars, he was going to beat the shit out of that guy. That's the Green Bay Packers. He's just in the middle. And when they face the Raiders, a.k.a. the jobbers of the NFL, they're going to get beat down. When Green Bay faces someone good, like the Lions, they're going to get beat down. Just the way it works.
So you're saying the Raiders are Barry. Oh. Is that what you're saying?
That would be correct.
This is like the Battle of Cape Lopez, where the Packers are Great Britain and the Raiders are the Pirates that are going to get slayed.
So
I had to look that up. I know nothing about Pirates.
There are other games. I mean, I love the Jets +2 against the Broncos. The Broncos just cut Randy Gregory.
So
they're not even going to try at this point.
I like that game too. That's the thing, Pat. As I said before, narrowing it down to 3 is a very difficult thing. I got to find a new method to do it, but
what else?
We're all on the same page on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Jets. I like the Saints like you. I like the Lions -9.5. And I like the Colts. I like the Colts +1.
I got a weird feeling about let me see, Steelers. I disagree with you, Pat. I think the Falcons find a way. I like the Saints as I picked. Tennessee Indy is a very interesting
I like
game.
Indy.
I kind of lean. You like Indy. I kind of lean Titans. See, that one's not going to make the card. Eagles Rams. I got Eagles. Maybe. I like your Arizona pick. That's about it. And I like the Cowboys. And I think we did everything.
Well, let's create our teaser. We won it last week thanks to the Eagles and Ron Rivera not going for 2 at the end of the game. That was very generous.
Good old Riverboat Ron, living up to his name again. You got a chance. Okay, let's just
more
do
like
this.
Pedal boat Ron at these.
Yeah. We call him tugboat Ron or paddle boat, whatever you want to call him. The opposite of a gambling riverboat. This guy, like Ron, you have a chance to beat them on one play. And he goes, our players are tired. Ron, they're tired because you had a long
Dude, your team just scored a TD on 4th down when they were tired. Just go again.
when Ron goes, we'll kick the extra point, I go, you're done. Take the Eagles like even more now live. Just click, click, click. The game was over. Over. He's horrible. Eric Bieniemy, you know what, Rob? I hope you guys agree with me on one thing. Bieniemy's going to be coaching that team real soon. But Ron will go away like with class. He'll just kind of step down because,
yes.
Hey, everybody, like it's been he stinks.
It's been a splice. Yeah.
Been a slice. Yeah.
So we'll do another three banger here because we can contribute one apiece. I will contribute the Houston Texans up to either 8 or 8.5, depending on the other picks and the size of the teaser that we want to play. So I will take Houston up through 3, up through 7, and get them to 8.
I like that.
Okay.
That was going to be, if I was going first on the teaser, that's what I would have played.
What about Dallas to like 9.5, 10.5, or
I don't
Minnesota to 11 and
those are two teams I don't want to go against. Like, listen, if you might like Dallas plus 3.5, that's fine. San Francisco could win this game by 25 points.
Okay, then I'll give you mine right now, Pat, because I don't even want to think about it anymore. Are we doing a 6.5 point teaser or 6? Like, what are we doing?
I'd like to do 7 to use to bring Detroit down to 2.5.
You know what? And I'd like to do 7 to make the Saints plus 8, even though I'll take them at 7.5. It was a 6.5.
Okay, yeah, we'll do the 7. So you want to take Detroit down, Rob?
Yeah.
To 2.5?
Yep.
And give me the Saints plus 8.
All right.
I mean, if the Lions lose at home to Bryce Young, then it was never meant to be anyways. It was never meant to be.
Or you can make the Cardinals. You can make the Cardinals plus 10. Ooh, juicy.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals were originally going to be on this, but it just felt like if I got through 2 and 7 with Houston, I like Arizona at plus 10 more than I like New Orleans at plus 8, just because Derek Carr might throw 3 pick sixes or something.
Nah, I'm taking New Orleans. New England doesn't have the ability, I don't think, to blow anybody out.
That's fair. Let's see here. 7-point teaser plus 130. I like it.
Sold. Yep. I almost want to add one. Can we add one?
No, we're not adding. We're doing
violating
one
the rules.
We're doing one.
We do
each.
one each. We go gold, silver, bronze in that order every time.
More money. No.
All right. What do you want to throw on? We'll do another one
Jets.
for kicks.
Oh God, no, we're not putting the Jets in a teaser.
Okay, we got the Jets, the Cardinals. Rob, give us one more.
Oh God. This is
how you lose money. This is how you lose
money. Topic of conversation next week is like we should have stuck to the 3-point.
We are doing the 3.
Actually, the conversation next week was we should have done a 6-banger because you guys hit everything. So let's get some damn confidence and figure it out here.
No, we're sticking with the 3. When I have the cheat sheet, it'll be Houston, New Orleans, and Detroit. That's the official one of the show. We just added on Arizona and the Jets for kicks. Does anyone want to add any other games? Because I'll throw on Indianapolis up to 8 too. Then
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The Colts, like Tennessee could win, but the chances they win by more than a touchdown are pretty low with that offense.
So let's do a 3, and then we do a fun 6 for extra money. So the 3 is the main one, and then we do the 6. Are we here? Or
all right.
We're reading each other's mail here.
Well,
we just did it. So.
Good. Oh.
Yeah.
But this one will not account towards the official record. This one is just for fun, but it does play at plus 450 at DraftKings Sportsbook on a 7-point tease. Houston, Detroit, the Saints, Jets, Cardinals, and Indy.
Okay.
All right. That'll do it.
Sounds good to me.
On the Pat Mayo Experience. Cam, you're on Sports Grid all week. What times can people find you?
I'm on. I do a hit at 9:40. We break down the live action of the game. I'm back with Morency at 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock tonight. We have golf picks and a hell of a lot of fun. CFL picks too with Babano, the pride of Hamilton, and college football. Your yin yang and early NFL picks. If it's sports, if it moves, you can bet on it. Like Mo Sislak says, we're here to satisfy. Let's go.
They still play the CFL? I thought that league disbanded like 5 years ago.
Okay, Pat. I love you. I love you as a pirate. It's just no CFL bashing. Let's just keep it clean this week. I like the CFL. Fine league.
Do you have any minor league sports you want to bet on? Do you have any Corn Ferry picks this week?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to Pizzola?
I'm talking to you. I mean, if we're just going to be betting on like D3 soccer, like the CFL.
Did you guys see that onside punt in the CFL last week?
Jesus Christ.
Like that made me never want to watch the league again.
This CFL bashing, honest to God, you guys just stop. Just stop. Appreciate it for what it is. It's like apples. It's a great league. Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a CFL quarterback that ends up the 4th string quarterback on some NFL roster in preseason next year that you'll tell us should be the starter for the team.
Fucking Argos in the league. I'll take them plus 14.5 against the Chiefs. Anyway, get me the hell out of here.
I once got
14 and a half.
I want 21 and a half. Sorry.
Rob, I once got punched out at a bar in Calgary for making comments like this. It was not
I would never hit you, Pat, but it's not very nice. You can't attack the league like that. It's a very
Is that how you originally got the eye patch?
Yeah, I mean, it's stemming from like 15 years ago. It was only my contention that it was the year that the Lions didn't win a game that, because we were in Calgary, that the Stampeders, they would beat the Lions. It was like, they wouldn't beat the Lions. The offensive line is twice the size of anyone on the defensive line in the CFL. Like, what are we talking about here? One team has Kelvin
the Detroit
Johnson.
Lions
Their one
would
play
have
could
won
be
that game by 35 points.
or more. Here's our play. We run the ball 70 times and you can't stop us.
Well, no, instead of just talking about it, let's make it happen one day and put a spread up and see what the hell happens. Okay?
It would be an embarrassment to our country. I hope that never ever happens.
You guys are an embarrassment to our country. You're ripping the league. I don't appreciate that. You should be like,
I don't appreciate anyone who has to big up something because it's from their country when it's absolute dog shit.
I love all brands of football. You know that for me forever. I like the CFL like forever. Like, I don't have to big it up. I think it's a fine league. I like the NFL. I like college football. I like CFL. Let's just say this. I love all brands of football. Does that make me a bad guy?
No. But calling them, like comparing them and
I
saying
was
they're
not comparing them.
You just said put the Argos.
You said you
would
take
beat the
14
Giants.
with the Argos against
I
the
bet
Chiefs.
45 and a half. Okay? Like, what the hell you want? Sorry, just enough. CFL's fine. It's
Rob,
fine.
the watch-alongs, a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, they're great. On the Hammer HQ on YouTube, check it out. Every Monday and Thursday night football game. Jeff Feinberg usually joins me for those as well. And
How
we
stoned
have.
is he?
Well, it depends on the night, but usually he's up there. He might have hit the volcano beforehand, but those are
the way the Chargers games are going. Rob, I'm surprised he's not dead. They almost tried to give it away to the Raiders again. Like, this team, like, I can't believe they covered.
If I'm an NFL schedule maker next year, I start by putting the Chargers in prime time every single
game.
week.
I agree
every single week they should have a primetime game because it's going to come down to the wire. You're not going to get Seahawks Giants where the game is over at the beginning of the third quarter.
Well said.
But Hammer HQ, Mondays and Thursdays, it's a full watch along of the games, and we bet them live as well. So join me for that if you're around for those primetime games.
Well, if you want to bet them live or at least get some action in on maybe a same game parlay or some props, whatever it is, runthesims.com. You can use the prop sniper. It's been printing out money the last 2 weeks. I know because I looked at my gambling account and it actually has money in it. I didn't have to redeposit anytime over the last 2 weeks, and that's always a big win for me. So cleaning up on the props, runthesims.com/Mayo to go check that out, along with all of the other optimization and simulation tools that are up there. Smash the like and sub to the channel, and of course, play in the DraftKings Listeners League that is available right now in the description. Thank you all for watching. I'm Pat Mayo, mateys, and I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!